Story RH, the podcast that makes a long story short.
Welcome to all.
History is made of stories.
In this episode, we'll be talking about how the HRIS can enhance or undermine perceptions of the HR department.
When you're looking for a new job, you sometimes see superficial communications that promise a company anchored in modernity, where digital technologies foster an interdisciplinary experience of cooperation and fluid exchanges between parties.
But after a few days on the job, you get a closer look at the HRIS. What a disappointment, and yet it's one of the first real points of contact with the company. You enter your vacation days and expenses, or consult to try to get a handle on who does what in the puzzling, confusing organizational chart.
So, HRIS and perceptions of HR, what's the story?
The story can be summed up in a single word, really. Experience. Employees develop their opinion of things based on their lived experiences.
Through the HRIS they use, employees get an idea of the company they work for in the HR department. And this situation begs two questions. The first, does the HRIS convey an accurate picture of the HR department? And the second, does the HRIS convey a message in line with its policy?
Let's take a few examples. The HR department in this example is very involved in the transformation challenges the company is facing, and benefits from significant support from the entire ExCom, a modern HR department whose role is recognized and encouraged.
Great. The only problem is that it's fallen behind when it comes to HRIS. They've got a framework focused on administrative features with aging tools, though they do know exactly how to use them. And they have definitely got their money's worth. Their HRIS conveys an image of administrative expertise.
The situation is easy to explain, of course. The HR department had seen the HRIS as a productivity driver to free up time and resources for higher added value processes. They were successful. But they forgot a key element, the employee experience.
Now imagine the same HRIS in a company, where HR's role and place in the culture is still very administrative. In that case, the HRIS is consistent with reality.
But if this same HR department wants to move upmarket, little by little, inching toward higher added value tasks, then the HRIS in question, which does convey an image in line with reality, nevertheless fails to communicate the message about its new policy and future.
So now we can use these illustrations to tease out the ways an HRIS can be a help or a hindrance for the HR department in terms of image.
On the one hand, there's image consistency, and on the other, message stability. You can have four cases.
In the first case, the HRIS becomes HR's apostle and a super ambassador. The HRIS is consistent with the reality of the department and conveys the right messages. It fully plays its role as a transformation driver. All that's left to do is continue to modify it to suit HR's projects and goals.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, you have the rebel HRIS, one that doesn't reflect who you are and conveys the wrong messages. It is detrimental to the image of the HR department as well as to its efforts and intentions. So, it needs a major overhaul. Time to take your roadmap back to the drawing board.
The intermediary situations are more delicate.
In the third case, the HRIS is a follower. It embodies what HR is today but isn't a driver that supports its plans for the future. So, you need to make small changes to the roadmap to include new features that convey the HR's commitment to positive change and forward movement.
Last but not least, you have the relay HRIS. It broadcasts the right message about transformation, but is out of sync with the HR department's current identity. So, you have to take stock of what is unacceptable and adjust a few of its current characteristics.
And if you think these four cases are too theoretical, you can start by wondering how users feel about it. Because when it comes down to it, it's first and foremost about a customer-focused mindset. The tools made available to them should coherently and efficiently embody the service we want to provide for them.
To recap, a company's HRIS can vehicle an image of the HR department that is more or less accurate, and the same goes for the messages it conveys. It's important to pay attention to this aspect because the HRIS is a particularly concrete aspect of the employee experience. Is that right?
Exactly right. Way to make a long story short. Story RH, the podcast that makes a long story short.